What happens when you click and right in the split second before you're ready to raise up your finger, something changes? Either you change your mind, you realize you made a mistake, or maybe the person that is leading from the front, they do something you don't expect. What do? Well, stick around and we'll talk more. Presented by Church Tech U, it's the ProPresenter Show. On today's show, the click inside of ProPresenter. Hi, and welcome again to the ProPresenter Show. This is the show where I teach all about ProPresenter, including some incredible minutiae like today. And I admit it is detailed, but there are just a few details that I've picked up over the years, and this is one of them that I don't think I've ever talked about, but it's something that could really save your bacon depending on what's going on. By the way, my name's Paul Allen Clifford, and if you've ever been in this situation where you have clicked on something and you needed to get out of it, or you needed to delay it, or whatever, and you thought that you were out of trouble, you were in trouble, tell me about it in the comments below. Oh, and stick around because I've got a little quick ebook to help you remember these tips. So, this happened to me a lot. I used to, when I first started using ProPresenter, I was at a church that was very focused on what eventually became perfectionism. It started out as excellence, ended up being perfectionism. And I'm not saying that everyone that does that is like that, but in this situation it absolutely was. So I learned really quickly how to cover some of my mistakes, and that is exactly what today is about. So let's head over to ProPresenter and we'll talk about the click and some of the little minutiae of the details about it in ProPresenter. So here we are in ProPresenter, and if let's say we're on a song. So let me just select a song here. Fairest Lord Jesus, okay? And let's say that we get to this, O thou of God and man the Son, thee will I cherish. And let's say instead of using the keyboard, which normally I would use, for whatever reason I'm using the mouse, which it's fine to, there's just some details you need to know. And I click on it and realize, uh-oh, I'm way too early. Well, you'll notice that it hasn't actually started. It hasn't gone to that slide. I did actually click on it, but it hasn't gone to the slide. Why is that? Well, when I let go is when the click activates. Doesn't activate when I click on it, it activates when I let go of the click. So that's the first thing that I want to talk about. Secondly, what if you then are going to verse 2, you click on it and you realize, uh-oh, they are not singing that. I don't want to put up the first slide of verse 2. Of course, all this happens in fractions of a second inside your head, but what do you do then? If you let go, it is going to enable. Well, you're actually looking at what you do. You just move it just a little bit. Not all the way over to where it moves, but just a little bit, like a hair out of the way. And when you let go, notice it did not activate. So now, if it was actually verse 3, I could go down here to verse 3, click and release, and it's good. So that's the second thing is, if you click and you realize it's a mistake before you let it go, you can move the slide just a hair and let it go, and everything will be fine. Now, it's important that you do move it just a hair. When I say just a hair, I mean just a hair. Because if you click on it and then you drag it too far, you can move the slides out of order, which is a... So, let me show you this. This is slide 8. I click and drag it too far, and notice now slide 8 is the slide that used to be 9, and slide 8 is down here where 12 is. Now, if I were to realize that, I could click and drag and bring it back, but if I didn't notice that, it could really mess up the song. So that's less than ideal. So make sure that you do not click and drag more than just a hair unless you absolutely do want to move the slides around. So that's probably the third thing that I wanted to point out. Fourth thing, there are all kinds of places within ProPresenter that you can right click and get additional stuff. In fact, you may have noticed in a lot of my tutorials, I'll say right click here, right click there, etc. If you're on a Mac, that may not be on. So it could be that that's not on at all. The simple way to get around that is you can control click. So I'm holding down the control button on my keyboard, and then I'm clicking, and then notice that it's there. Now, what happens if I click, hold it down, and then hold down control and let it go? That doesn't give me the right click. So that's not a good way to solve that problem. The slight drag is the way that you solve that problem in ProPresenter. If, as I say, you're on a Mac and the right click doesn't work, you probably don't have to do time to fix that during church if you needed to. To fix it, you just go over to ProPresenter, System Settings, and I am on Tahoe, so it might be a little bit different depending on the operating system you're on. And then you click on either trackpad or mouse, depending on which. It could be you've got both connected to your computer. Right now I've got 2 trackpads. I don't have any mouses. I think it's technically mouses. Just always gets on my nerves. So you click on that, and the setting that you want to go to is secondary click right here. And for a trackpad, click with 2 fingers is the best of these options here. So if it was off, right click wouldn't work at all. Click with 2 fingers is probably the best way to do it on a trackpad. Check your settings if you're on a mouse and go from there. So that is all about the click, which I admit is a bit of minutia, but all about the click in ProPresenter. Now, if you want a quick little ebook to help you remember this stuff, just to have it in your files in case you need to do some training or whatever, no problem. Just head on to tdm.fyi/pro-gifts, GIFTS, and you'll see a list of the additional things that I've included so that you can download and have access to those just to help you out. Absolutely free. My gift to you. Until next time, this is Paul Allen Clifford from TrinityDigitalMedia.com and ChurchTechU.com, reminding you to go out and change eternity.